Welcome into the latest Ramie and Drew live. I am Ramie Mackloff. That is Drew Flaggy. We're a couple of Milwaukee comedians. We talk about sports and whatever else comes to mind. You can follow, rate, review, subscribe, and tell a friend over on the YouTube channel, and as well as Facebook. And no, that's it. That's where we're streaming tonight. YouTube and Facebook. And Drew, I don't know if you noticed, but it's a special Ramie and Drew. It's episode 69, buddy. Hey.
Wow. You're
supposed to say nice. That's
Wow.
the proper response to that.
Is it special because I can drop the big news to you? Is that why?
What's the big news?
Did you not see what your favorite Marvel studio did?
What?
They canceled the Blade movie that's been in production for 6 years.
Oh, I did see that, yeah.
They couldn't get it right.
I don't know why they can't get that done. That doesn't seem that doesn't seem to be
Ramie, they couldn't get Blade right, but good thing we got Agatha all along. And we got the Marvels. And we got the Eternals.
I have not watched Agatha all along. Have you?
I've watched other people watch it, and that's good.
Fair enough.
I'm taking in everything through other people's eyes at this point. I'm like, I'm not going to pay for this.
Yeah, I was just talking, and I'm not as picky as you. I was trying to find a different word. I'm just gonna use the word that was coming to mind. I'm not as picky as you are when it comes to like my Marvel and Star Wars and stuff like that. But it's been a while since me and my buddy were talking about this today. Since Disney Plus had themselves a banger, it's been a good long while since Disney Plus had themselves a good show.
Wow, you guys are really finally starting to come along and realize, maybe this stuff isn't good anymore. Just go watch Iron Man 1 and then go, oh, this is the same thing.
What do you mean it's the same thing?
Well, it's all Marvel. It's Marvel. It's the same. We went from a guy in a flying suit that had lasers where you're like, all right, that's pretty cool. That's pretty fun. To now it's a bunch of wine mom witches drinking and singing along.
Yeah, I really don't get the Agatha all along thing. I don't. But I mean, hey, if you're watching or listening, wherever you are, it's YouTube, Apple, Spotify, wherever you are, we appreciate you. And if that's your thing, God bless. But I do not get it, man. I don't know if it has any roots in like the comic book world or if they just made this up. It doesn't. It has zero roots in the Marvel world.
It does. It has roots in it's in the comics.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Not the story they're telling, but the characters that exist in it are part of something.
Gotcha. All right. Well, nobody came here to hear our thoughts on Marvel and Agatha all along. What people came here for is to vent a little bit, Drew. And you can comment over on the YouTube page. You know what I haven't done in a while? Maybe I should do this. Send out the link so that people can actually join the show and you can get some stuff off your chest about the Bucks tonight as they lose to the Celtics 119-108. And Drew, it's not been a fun start to the season for the Milwaukee Bucks. They won the opener, and then they've dropped 3 in a row since. And the first 2 were the Bulls and the Nets. And the Celtics, I might go, okay, it's defending champs, but now you got a 3-game losing streak going, and 2 of them were to the Bulls and the Nets. That is not how you want it to start this season.
Yeah, the Celtics are not a team that I get pissed off losing to, especially early in the season. They're a good barometer team, but we got to play them 3 times, I think, before New Year's, which is kind of annoying that we don't get like a game around the trade deadline or like after, and then you get one to close out the season. That would be kind of nicer, but got to play the schedule. The Bulls thing, we were at a Halloween party, so we didn't really get to see the second half when everything seemed to fall apart. But I watched the entire Nets game last night, and the lack of, I guess, urgency, rebounding the ball. Damian Lillard had 2 quick fouls, so they had to pull him out. I mean, quick for him, I guess. Like, they had to pull him out, with 4 minutes left, or 3:40 left or something in the first.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that was it just turned into, I don't want to dog on Giannis too much because of everything he's done for the franchise, but Went right back to Milwaukee Bucks basketball from early last season, late the season before, where the ball just gets in Giannis's hands, it sticks, nobody moves around the perimeter. Only now you got guys who are worse shooters out there than what we probably had in years past, like with Taurean Prince, and Brook he hasn't found a rhythm yet shooting. But I liked a lot of what they did tonight with Brook, where he was in the paint like a 7-footer. That was nice. That was nice to see him actually, backing guys down in the paint.
And he's been a force defensively. We do have to, if we're going to find like a silver lining and a bright spot, he's been an absolute force defensively.
I mean, there's a couple silver linings. Like the real Damian Lillard showed up, I think, in almost all of these games. Like, yeah, they were getting wet last night by the Nets, by Dennis Schroeder again. And shame on me for not betting on the over for Dennis Schroeder. Shame on me. I was like, you know what? He can't continue this shit. He's 1,000 years old. He's a role player. Nah, shooting guard Dennis Schroeder. Just all right. Well, there you go. He's gonna go. He's prime time Peyton Pritchard out there when he plays against us.
I was going to say, what hurts more, Dennis Schroeder or Peyton Pritchard going 10 for 14, 9 of 12 for 3 for 28 points?
Schroeder. He doesn't have a ring.
Really?
Schroeder.
Come on. Peyton Pritchard rode the coattails to a ring. He did play a role in the playoffs. But I'm just saying, he's not like the guy who won the ring. He was a player on a team that won the ring.
No, but Peyton Pritchard, you think
that's like saying Robert Horry has more rings than Kobe.
You think Dennis Schroeder would be the reason why a team wins a championship? He would be.
No, I don't think either of those guys would be.
He would be the Jeff Teague type player who joined the group project late and then goes on Gilbert Arenas' podcast and talks shit about the city that he won a championship in. So
that's exactly what he would do.
Yeah. So Dennis Schroeder's he's a little turd. Like I like watching all these things like where like he throws his temper tantrums and stuff. Those are fun little compilations. Watching him stomp his feet because he looks like such a little kid out there. I don't know. He annoys me. But the Nets.
This is kind of a disturbing start, though, dude. Like to this season because I sat here. Say that again.
They're playing down to their competition. It's as simple as that. Not like the first 3 quarters of this game, for the most part, were really good tonight. But then outside, there were dumb things that we did again, and you can't afford to do anything dumb. Being up by 2 and Giannis shooting threes, maybe that's pretty stupid. I don't need to see that.
I know it's only 4 games into the season, but I sat here and said, they had a whole off season of Doc. Dame had a regular off season to come into the season in game shape and everything else. And they come out and it's kind of the same thing that we saw last year. And I know we haven't seen them play with Chris Middleton yet. We'll see how much that changes anything. Or we won't. That's the other possibility. But to this point, it's been kind of the same thing. And I did go back and watch the Bulls game. I was hosting on 670 The Score in Chicago the next day. So I was like, I should watch this game and see how it played out. And they kind of, even though the Bulls aren't good, but what they can do is they can run and they can get up a high volume of shots on you. And that's the same thing that the Celtics did tonight. And that's kind of the formula is run, put up a lot of shots and hope that more of yours fall than theirs and see if they can keep up because they're old and kind of slow. That's been kind of the blueprint, and they didn't change a lot to address those problems in the offseason. And I'm not like going full panic mode by any means, but there is a part of me that is like, was I getting a little ahead of myself with the confidence given what they did and didn't do in the offseason to address some of these problems?
Yeah, I'm more annoyed right now, and this is the quickest I've been annoyed in a long time into a season. Like I'm not going to panic, but I'm pretty annoyed, I would say. I think there's a lot of bad isolations on this team. I think that this is going to probably be an unpopular opinion here, but like I think that they're valuing Bobby Portis's role way too heavily right now on this team. Because his plus minus is atrocious. Like he's really bad. It's like he can score 12 points. He's given up 24. It doesn't matter. Like he is not good defensively right now. And that what's worse is that most of the guys on that bench, again, there's like no pride in rebounding. There's no They're not crashing the boards. Andre Jackson, I mean, yeah, he came in and committed 3 fouls in one quarter today, but like, um, Andre Jackson brought some energy. He was at least flying around doing stuff. Like he's trying to fight for his playing time. Some of these rotation guys, like it sucks because like Bobby's, our hero and he's the mayor of Milwaukee, but it's like, man, I he's they got to figure out something with his role because the Giannis minutes with most of that bench in there are pretty bad. And then Giannis just ends up having the ball stick in his hands. No one's moving around. No one's screening. No one's cutting. I mean, dude, I see people cut more at the fucking gym I go to. Like they're like just nobody's doing anything out there. It's crazy.
And they still haven't like mastered the which is I think what we're all waiting for. They haven't like unlocked the full Giannis and Dame package and what we all thought that could look like. And again, it's 4 games in. It's only 4 games into, one full off season with Doc, blah 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 blah. But we still haven't seen them sort of unlock. I guess game 1 we got a glimpse of that with both of them going for 30 plus points, and it was a pretty dominant win in the process, but we haven't seen them for a good long stretch really unlock that combo of Giannis and Dame and unleash its full potential.
No, I think they did it today for the most part, like earlier again, like when the two of them were out there, and I think Giannis is getting, I guess over the first 4 games, Giannis was a little bit better of a screener tonight than he had been in the previous 2 games. But other than that, like, I mean, Dame had a couple pocket passes to Giannis. He, threw one over the top to Giannis. Like, it's there. Like, they could run it more, I guess. But
yeah, I mean, we see flashes, but we don't see it. We haven't seen it be the dominant force that I think we all thought it would be.
Right. Well, and that's also going to come with Dame shooting and like actually like knocking down shots a lot. I mean, he's been more willing to shoot and actually be more assertive with the ball this year with his conditioning and stuff. So he's not the guy that I have an issue with. Like I saw a lot of people like just, when I was scrolling through the dark corners of the internet, the amount of people that are already ready to trade Damian Lillard because they're
still doing that.
Dude, I do one thing. Somebody was pissing and moaning that he went 2 for 8 from 3 tonight and how he's like not shooting 100% from 3, but it's like also he got to the line 3 times for like from shooting threes tonight. He drew fouls on Drew Holiday at the perimeter. Who does that?
Yeah.
It's like Dame's not the issue here. And it's like a thing where I'm like, is it Giannis making poor decisions out there still? Like him jacking threes. And it's like Tatum didn't put a hand up. It's like that was a goofy shot. Like you didn't have to do it.
He did put up 2 3-point attempts tonight, didn't he?
And we were winning by 2. It's like these were things I was finding myself thinking like when Giannis did that and like, we were trying to play quick. I'm like, well, we're not the Pacers. We're not the Knicks. We're not any of these teams that get out and run. We're not Oklahoma City. So what are we right now? It's like, have we not admitted that maybe with the age of the players on our team, that maybe we need to drag people into basketball hell, into the half court? Because defensively, we worked the Celtics. They had to get a lot of shots off with like 4 seconds left on the shot clock. Like they weren't getting that many quick shots. And the only quick shots they really got tonight were coming off of offensive rebounds and second chance or third chance points. And I was like, oh shit, are we the Miami Heat now? Like, do we need to actually play that way? That we're gonna drag you into the mud? And
I don't know if it has to be that what's the word that I'm looking for? Boring. I don't know that you have to go full Miami Heat with it, but yeah, you might have to slow things down and kind of grind away at teams a little bit. And that happens a little bit more in the playoffs and the postseason than it does in the regular season. So maybe they're more suited for that if they can sort of hone that game and learn how to work that game. But yeah, that might suit them best is to grind it out a little bit and slow things down. Like I said, the Bulls aren't a good team, but they can run. They're young. They're fast. They got some guys who, when they get hot, like Kobe White or Zach LaVine, when they get hot, they can fill it up. And they kind of showed you how the Bucks could lose to anyone on any night, including a bad team like the Bulls. Throw up a whole bunch of shots. Dude, tonight, the Celtics shot, let me see real quick, 47 threes to the Bucks 31. 47 threes to the Bucks 31. That's just volume, man. And I mean, they hit them at a higher clip. The Bucks only shot 25%, where the Celtics shot 38%. But if you're just putting up that many more shots than the other team, the likelihood that you're going to win is pretty high.
Well, last night against the Nets too, Gary Trent Jr. got, I think he had 3 threes that he took, missed all of them, but like they were wide open threes. They were the looks that you brought Gary Trent Jr. in here to make. I don't expect him to miss those shots all year. With the way that he plays, but also this is a little bit of a transition, I think, for him too, because he wasn't, I don't think in Toronto expected to be defending the best player on every other team. He was on Tatum a lot tonight. Between him having to deal with Tatum and then Brown on switches, that was rough. But I didn't think Gary Trent Jr. was terrible defensively, but he's exerting a lot of energy on the defensive end there. And so it's like if his legs are a little bit tired and it's gonna come throughout conditioning through the season that he'll get his legs under him and he'll hit those shots, and that's fine. The first 2 games of the season, I thought Taurean Prince was pretty good, and then last night was for him and he was pretty bad. And then tonight, I mean, he used all his fouls damn near. Like he had 4 fouls to end the game. A couple of them were goofy, but whatever. You're gonna foul guys on the Celtics. It's gonna happen. But this game was like, if we didn't lose those first 2 games or against the Bulls and the Nets, tonight wasn't as annoying as it is for me. Right?
Exactly. Yep.
Because it's like this was a game that you could circle as a goes either way kind of game, where it's like
it's
all
the
right,
second of a back to back. You're on the road. They're the defending champs. Blah 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 blah. So yeah, like that's not that hard a pill to swallow on its own. But coming on the heels of losses to 2 teams like the Bulls and the Nets, it raises some red flags here early on in the season.
Well, it's like now it's like you almost got to sit there and be like, well, now you got to go beat Memphis. You got to go beat them on Halloween.
Yeah, they get a couple nights off, which I think they need right now. Given the way that things have gone these last 3 games, I think that it's good to get away from the court a little bit and clear their heads. But yeah, that's not an easy game either with Ja Morant back in the mix.
No. Yeah, it's just, I mean, they should be able to bully them inside, like what? Because Jaren Jackson's out, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's like Salty Aldama is gonna fucking do anything to you? It's like just put Brook down in the low block again. I like that little 2-man game that Giannis and Brook were running. Get Brook's big ass out to the perimeter once in a while to go set a screen for Dame. Giannis, work on your little screening angles. Like there's ways to get out of this. And it's early enough that I'd rather them make these mistakes now than have this be a thing that we're still trying to figure out in January. And then the other thing too is like you look around the league. I mean, the Knicks are dog shit right now too. So it's like, okay,
that is true. Yeah, no, you're right about that.
They're a team that's picked, to be second or whatever in the East. So it's like I'm not going to panic right now when other teams are having growing pains, but. I mean, this is kind of the thing where it's like you'd like to see us stack a couple wins here.
Yeah, the Sixers are 1-2. The Knicks are 1-2. Who else was? Oh, the Pacers are 1-3. There are a bunch of teams that had high expectations coming into the year and aren't living up to them so far. Cleveland and Orlando, who were a lot of people's like surprise picks that they'd finish in the top half of the Eastern Conference, off to solid starts, 4-0. And 3-1 for both those young rosters. Let's say Chris Middleton ever plays basketball again. How much do you think he changes or fixes some of this stuff that we've been talking about?
Yeah, I mean the scoring droughts are gonna definitely be smaller, especially if Damian Lillard keeps playing the way that he's playing. So it's like that's just you got 2 different jump shooters out there. Middleton can get his shot inside the arc. Dame can operate at all 3 levels. And then that's going to open up things. It's going to add passing to Giannis because like Chris and Giannis, they know how to actually like play off each other. And then also the added thing of Chris and Brook, like there's enough other things there. My concern still going forward is the bench. I know I said it in our group chat last night, and then this happened a couple times tonight. DeLon Wright, I don't know. I don't know if where he fits in the offense when he comes in off the bench. Like I was like, when we picked him up, I was like, oh great, we got like a pretty decent point of attack defender that we bring in. But when he brings the ball up, he stopped his dribble at the logo like 4 times last night. And I was just sitting at the bar. I'm like, oh, you got to be shitting me, dude. Like it's just he picks the ball up, he turns his back, and then like it doesn't matter if anybody's rotating because he's not looking. And it's like you're basically waiting for Giannis to come up and take the ball from you, and then you just kind of drift off over to the wing somewhere. And it's like I was excited when we got him because of like, yeah, his catch and shoot ability is pretty good. He can get to the rack once in a while, but like I was like, I didn't realize that as like how not great he was going to be so far to start the season. When
Offensively, you mean?
he's got to run the offense. Like I was like 1-on-1, like he could probably blow past a few guys and stuff, and he's a tough defender. But he hasn't fit into the offense yet. And I'm going to keep saying yet because he's a veteran player. He's more capable of doing any of this. So I was just like, but like watching it, I'm like, man, he picked up his dribble so high, and then everyone had to like vacate their spots in whatever motion that they were in. That was frustrating to watch, but that's stuff too that, I mean, shit, if I'm sitting there drinking Michelob Ultras because they're on sale at the bar and I can pick that up, Doc's team can absolutely pick that up and be like, you got to.
And that is one thing that like one of probably a handful of things, because we're sitting here saying like a lot of this is some of the same stuff we saw last year. I think any team right now, and when you have like some pretty key role players that you added, like a Dalen Wright and Gary Trent Jr., it is going to take a minute for Doc Rivers and his staff to figure out rotations and minutes and who plays well with who, et cetera, et cetera. So that is one thing that I think we should have a little bit of patience with. Not some of the other stuff that we've talked about, because it is some of the same stuff that we saw last year, but in terms of how to incorporate new faces into the offense and where their minutes are and who they should play with, that's something that takes a little trial and error.
No, and that's the thing where I'm like, there's a little bit of grace. Like I said, Gary Trent Jr. having to expend so much energy playing defense. DeLon Wright, like just figuring out, how he's going to run the offense for those like 6 minutes off the bench. Like those are the kind of things I'm like, that's easy to fix kind of stuff. Like they're not dumb players. Like they can figure this kind of stuff out. Like, I like Doc's coaching staff. They'll figure that stuff out, and that'll just come with time. The things that bug me, it's things that we've noticed for years now, and it's like I said, Bobby Portis's defense is really bad. It's his plus minus is bad. Like that's been all 4 games. It's not just him, because it's also the other guys around him that are not playing great defense off the bench. Like it's like what I think Ty Windish was the one that tweeted it, but like Brooke was like +7 tonight, and like Bobby was -8.
Oof.
That's a huge swing right there.
Yeah.
That's really tough. Like, and people are, they dog on Brooke because, he's not like an all-star, but like, dude, Bobby's like, he gets us all fired up at home, and, Celtics are a tough defensive team. They're hard to score on, especially even with like Al Horford and stuff out there. But like, you got to at least hold your own defensively, and you got to pull down those boards, and those boards got to contribute to at least other people scoring. And it's not translating right now on that second unit. And I do think that there were stretches tonight where Bobby might have been in there a little bit too long, like especially when we, like Marcus Johnson said, we had to get a couple stops, and we got them, but then that ball just got stagnant again when we got it to the other end, or we took a bad shot, or maybe we made a pass too many, because I know they said something about how like they're looking to make the extra pass, and it seems like they've been a little too selfless with each other lately, and just they throw that ball around, and it's like got to have a little bit more confidence in their shots. Like some of them I would like a little bit of selfishness out of, and like Gary Trent Jr. one that I'm like, because he's shown that he can get by defenders and stuff. Like I'm fine with him trying to draw contact in the paint. Like if he's
We
got
said that about Dame last year. He needed to be a little more selfish. So far this year, I'm happy with
I'm
the
really
amount of the amount of selfishness that Dame has shown and the volume of shots that he's put up in all the
yeah,
games. Really,
yeah. No, I'm happy with, for like I said, for the most part, Dame and Giannis, I'm pretty happy with. I mean, Dame, I'm really happy with because he looks like Portland Damian Lillard right
he
now.
does. He really
Um,
does.
but like Portland Damian Lillard and isolation Giannis still can't coexist. Like Giannis does need to he needs to be he needs to make quicker decisions, I think. Like what he's going to do, and like he can't sit with that ball at the top of the perimeter and let that defense like rewrite itself. And
By
it's
the way,
like,
I'm looking at Ty's tweet, and you had the numbers exactly right. It's right there. It was a +7 for Brooke and a -8 for Bobby Portis. Yeah, that's not good, man. And that is plus minus isn't the most telling thing until it's pretty consistently not on your side or pretty consistently on your side. Like it tells a tale over a course of time when the sample size gets larger and larger of your plus minus being what Bobby's has been. It does tell a good part of the story, not the whole story, but a good part of the story
well,
about what you're doing when you're out there.
well, and that's like a plus minus too. With like plus minus to me is a lot like ERA in baseball, where it's like, yeah, it's like maybe you gave up 3 hits in a row, but how many of them were because you had worse defenders at like your middle infield? It's like maybe a Willie Thomas makes that play, but you got pick a bad shortstop. I don't know. You got
Mm-hmm.
there, and he can't get to the ball the same way that like your good defenders or your Bryce Terangs or up the middle that can stab that ball, and not everybody can make that play. So it's like maybe those guys lower your ERA. Maybe you have better defenders around you in on the second unit, and then you guys give up a couple less points, and maybe your plus minus doesn't look as bad. But Bobby's plus minus, I think he was -12 in a game this year too.
Oof,
And it's
that's
like,
not good.
and that was a game where he like scored 12. Like, I think that might have been the Bulls or something like that. And he just is I have faith that he can like clean that up a little bit, like at least just with like rebounding or even just like boxing out. But I'm like, a big thing would be if the Bucks would quit getting beat on like the second chance points. That's a big one right now. And
Yep.
the first
And again, that's something that we saw last year.
the first half of this game, they went after every loose ball. They were, everybody. Giannis was all over the place, grabbing balls everywhere and stuff, and that was great.
You
But
said grabbing balls.
yeah, well, it's episode 69. I was gonna say something like that at some point, but no, I was like, and then like, yeah, maybe they ran out of gas, late in the third quarter or something. But when they got tired, their brains got tired too, and there were some real just boneheaded plays.
Speaking of tired brains and boneheaded plays, Drew, I do want to move on to football. My brain is pretty tired because I worked overnight on 670 The Score last night talking about boneheaded plays by my football team. The Bears are a very, very dumb football team, and it's why they're not good. Like they should be good. I think even a Packers fan like Drew could look at some of what they've put together on paper and go, oh, that's a team that should be pretty good with Caleb Williams and DJ Moore and Keenan Allen and some of the weapons that they got this offseason. And they're not good because they're dumb. Like that, and that defense is very good, but as a football team, they're just really, really dumb. And it starts with their head coach. And we are going to be seeing that Hail Mary for years to come. That cost the Bears that football game yesterday, but it was 4 bad quarters of football that had the Bears in that position to begin with, to end up looking as bad as they looked on that Hail Mary. They brought that on themselves, every last bit of it. And I'm done with this coaching staff. I declared that last night for the third time. Well, it was this morning, technically. Overnights are the morning. For the third time, I'm out on Matt Eberflus as a head coach. I'm done with that, dude.
What's your team's record right now?
They're 4-3.
All right. You're right on pace.
No, but it's not. It's not. I don't just go on the record, man. I go based on what it looks. And Matt Eberflus, dude, did you watch the game? Did you see how all that played out when with the Bears losing yesterday? I'm sure you did and took great joy in it.
Explain it to me.
Say that again.
I said I just want you to have to explain it to me.
It's not. It's not just a. It's not just a Hail Mary. And Tariq Stevenson is a fucking dumbass for celebrating and jawing with Commanders fans while the ball is being snapped and not being where he's supposed to be, which eventually ended up costing him that game. And it was a really dumb
covering the guy that caught the ball.
It was so stupid. It was so stupid. But the play before the Hail Mary, the Commanders got the ball on the 38-yard line. And Tony Romo, if you're watching the game, he's like, what you want to do here is you want to get about 12 to 15 yards to make it a manageable Hail Mary and get to the sidelines and get out of bounds. And they asked Matt Eberflus why you weren't defending the sidelines. How did they get that playoff before the Hail Mary? And he said they're defending touchdown there. Dude, they're on the 38-yard line. They're 62 yards away from the end zone, plus a drop back and a scramble that you always have to do on a Hail Mary. He's going to be 70 to 75 yards away from the end zone, and you're defending touchdown there? Like, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. You take away the sideline there, make them throw to the middle of the field. They have no timeouts. You make them throw to the middle of the field and see if they can snap it and spike the ball to stop the clock. The guy, and it's just the latest example of the dude completely lacking situational game awareness as a head coach. Like some really, really basic stuff. Do you know that in Matt Eberflus's tenure as the head coach, they've lost 4 games in which they had a 95+% win probability in the fourth quarter? That's fucking hard to do, dude. That's hard to do, and that's an indictment that goes directly onto coaching and goes directly onto the head coach and some of the decisions that he made in some of those losses. He's not an NFL head coach, dude. He and his staff are single-handedly what's holding this thing back from being what it could be.
Yeah. I mean,
nice guy though, and good haircut and nice beard.
If things keep going the way that they're going, you guys will have a nice, easy schedule to figure things out again next year.
Right? Yeah. No, you're right.
That'd be pretty good.
And you're like, when I was doing the post game, well, it wasn't a post game show; it was an overnight show. People were like, "Well, yeah, but they're 4-3. They were 0-7 last year." But you look at that offense, man. It's not better. It's not better than it was with Mitch Trubisky and Matt Nagy. It's not better than it was with Luke Getsy and Justin Fields. They had 36 yards at halftime, dude, as an offense. Not like one player had 36 yards at halftime. They collectively, as an offense, had 36 yards at halftime. That's not.
Yesterday, they benched Jared Goff because he only had 85 yards.
It's so ridiculous, dude. It's so, and coming off a bye week, they had that performance. It's just so goddamn ridiculous. They do have 2 very winnable games coming up, and then they start a really tough part of their schedule, all 6 of their division games, plus the Niners and the Seahawks. And so they have a chance to go into that stretch 6-3. You're set up pretty nice going into the back half of your schedule 6-3. But man, I just don't have any faith that they're going to be able to make a lot of noise in the back half of that schedule with what I just listed off.
No, I mean, they're a young team. I mean, well, I guess you're gonna be considered a young team when you have a guy, like Caleb Williams. I don't know, like that's why like everybody was, it wasn't necessarily you, but it was our other friends who are Bears fans that were, talking a lot coming into the season that they finally got their quarterback and everything, and I was like, just look, I don't know how many Packer fans thought that Jordan Love was going to be the goddamn answer either. It's like I was nervous.
I'm really pleased with Caleb Williams. I don't have a lot of gripes with Caleb Williams and his individual performance. I don't think he's getting the best help or being put in the best position between his offensive line and his offensive coordinator.
No, I mean that's exactly what you've always said that the Bears do. Is it's the GM makes decisions, and then they draft a quarterback, and then the coach doesn't coach them up, or the coach has issues, or there's little strategic problems, and they fire the coach, and then the GM's got to bring in a new coach, and the new coach doesn't really see how this old quarterback fits, and then they got to trade the quarterback, and then they got to draft a new quarterback, and then it's the cycle of just dumb shit that they're gonna do. It's like they need to just sign Caleb Williams, just franchise tag him. Just
right now in his
yeah,
rookie season.
yeah. No, like,
In his rookie season. You just mentioned Jordan Love, and we should talk about your football team. He goes down injured again, Drew. And the Beatles always like to say all you need is love, but do you really need Jordan Love? Because that's now combined about 3 games that he's missed, because he left during the Eagles game and he left during the game against the Jaguars on Sunday, and he missed 2 games entirely. 3 games now that Jordan Love has missed, and they've won 2 of those, Garrett. Or actually, yeah, no, they've won. Well, it was in 4 games that he got 3 games worth of action, and they've won 3 of them, man. That's a sign of just a really good football team. And I was talking about how bad and stupid the Bears head coach is. I think you got to give Matt LaFleur a lot of credit for being able to sort of keep the ship afloat while their starting quarterback is down injured.
yeah, I mean Malik Willis, I wasn't excited, when I knew that, we knew that he had to start, week 2, and it's like, well, that sucks, but he's played really well. I got no complaints about the way that he's filled in. They're yeah,
And
the
I think that's got a lot to do with Matt LaFleur, because what he does really well, and what good play callers do really well, is ask a guy to do what he's good at, and don't. It sounds real simple, but ask a guy to do what he's good at, and don't ask a guy to do what he's not good at. Like that's one of Bill Belichick's principles of coaching. I remember watching the Football Life episode about him on NFL Network, and he said what his assistant coaches all said. What made him different than other coaches that they worked for was he would always say, "Don't tell me what a guy can't do. Tell me what a guy can do, and let's try and put him in position to do that." And I think Matt LaFleur does that very, very well.
Yeah, well, I mean, what they said in the broadcast a couple of weeks ago, that the Packers are probably the best team coming out of halftime because they make all these adjustments now, and that's just good coaching from everywhere. It's not just LaFleur, but it's his entire staff. So it's like the opposite of basically what you're talking about with the Bears, is how dumb the Bears are. It's like the Packers actually might be pretty smart.
And the Bears have, and it looks like for the foreseeable future, until they make some kind of change and maybe get the hire right next time, have and will have for the foreseeable future the worst head coach in the division. Because I love all the other head coaches in this division. Matt LaFleur is really good. I just talked about how much I love him. Dan Campbell, there's no denying what he's doing there in Detroit. And I've liked Kevin O'Connell from the day that they hired him in Minnesota. And that guy loses Kirk Cousins and takes Sam Darnold off the scrap heap, and has him in the MVP conversation for the first 6 weeks of the year, and has them off to what, a 5-2 start. Like he's a really, really good head coach, man. And to go and get who's their defensive coordinator, Brian Flores, who's been a head coach in this league, to be his defensive coordinator. They have about as good an offensive and defensive mind combo as any team in this league when you talk about coaching, and that doesn't bode well for the Bears if they're going to stick with Eberflus, dude.
No, I mean, still, like, even like how we talked about a couple of weeks ago, like when everything was like pretty knotted up with like the whole division, whereas like the Bears could still finish over 500 and still be the worst team in the division.
Yeah.
So it's even like with the, it's just by default, yeah, then it would be your coach would probably be the worst of the 4 coaches.
I hate football. It's stupid.
Yeah, it's like how I hate baseball.
Football's dumb and I hate it.
Baseball's dumb. Bad. Go Dodgers, I guess.
Yeah, they're about to take a 3-0 lead in this thing, man.
I think they won, didn't they?
Oh, did they? Is it over?
I think it's already over.
All right.
Fair. I'm rooting
26-18 in Monday Night Football if you're watching us live. Steelers lead the Giants.
I told somebody at work today that I was like, watching the Yankees and Dodgers be in the World Series really made me miss COVID when nothing was fucking happening. like when the world was just like shut down and I was drinking tequila at home every day. Like I was just like whatever.
Good times.
I got yeah.
Those are good times.
I didn't want to have to watch the places that every movie takes place in, New York or LA.
You didn't have over-unders to worry about and parlays. You didn't have any of that shit to worry about.
I don't bet on baseball anymore.
It was just tequila and streaming Tiger King.
It was just Call of Duty and tequila. And my life was, you know, it was slightly less sad than watching the Dodgers and the Yankees.
The pandemic was just a little less sad than watching the Dodgers and the Yankees in the World Series.
Like the time that I got my driver's license, the time I got approved for a home loan, the time COVID made me not have to watch big market baseball. Just, just the best times to be alive.
I do love watching Shohei Ohtani play baseball, man.
No, Ohtani's awesome. Like that's honestly why he's the only reason I'm like, I'll root for the Dodgers because I like Ohtani. I hate everything else about the Dodgers. Freddie Freeman hitting a walk-off grand slam's pretty cool, but like also after that, I'm like, nah, seen it.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, they're two good baseball teams, though, and there's no denying that. Like if you just look at the talent that they got and
they have all the money in the world.
I'm not saying they don't, dude, but also it does. First of all, it doesn't.
From other fucking franchises.
I'm just talking about from an entertainment value standpoint, they provide some pretty good bang for your buck for if you're a baseball fan. If you can just sit down and appreciate good baseball players, then this is a series that you should be able to enjoy. And I'm not saying you're right, you're wrong about that other stuff. I'm just saying if you can put that in the back of your mind and just go, fuck, Juan Soto is really fun to watch. It's really fun to watch Aaron Judge crush baseballs when he does it. He hasn't done it very much lately. Shohei Ohtani is like a once in a lifetime type of baseball player. You know what? And Mookie Betts is a once in a lifetime type of baseball player. Freddie Freeman is a great hitter, and I love watching him pick apart pitchers and set them up for him to put the ball over the fence. Like there's a lot to watch if you're a baseball fan here, even if you are put off by the big market angle of the whole thing.
Yeah. Well, what is it? Spring training starts at the end of February.
Is it over? Because here on my TV, it says it's the top of the 9th inning and nobody out, and the Dodgers are winning 4-0.
Okay, well, then it's not over.
They're going to win, though.
Yeah.
All right, Drew. Anything else that you want to add before we wrap this thing up? Because I worked an overnight shift last night, and I have barely slept in the last 48 hours. So I'm tired.
I got to meet my boss at one of my first accounts, so I got to go to bed, too.
All right. Well, good luck with that. And we will talk again soon, I'm sure. This has been Ramie and Drew. Follow, like, rate, review, subscribe, tell a friend, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, and we do appreciate you. We will talk to you next time, and hopefully the Bucks have a little more happy things to talk about next time. And we will talk to you then. Ramie and Drew, episode 69, Drew.
Episode 7, start a new era of winning.
You're supposed to just say nice. Twice you dropped the ball now. Episode 69, Drew.
Not a hack.
All right. We'll talk to you next time.